morning everyone. Another Wednesday and another virtual card and a cuppa. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Fiona Whitten and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator living in Berkshire. But I live not far from Wokingham. These events used to be held in a cafe, and sadly because of the old COVID we can't do that, so I've now decided, well, I'd say now, I've been doing them for a few months now, so we have virtual ones, and kits go out each month for people, and hopefully then we all get to craft along. So I'm at my mum's, gotta love it, home from home. My mum's kitchen table is my crafting space for doing these because internet at home is absolutely rubbish. So those of you who ordered the kits for this month should have received them by now, fingers crossed. I'm just making sure that this is going live. Yep, so hi Linda and Jackie. So this is one of the kits that you would have received. It's featuring the Poinsettia Place paper. So you should in your kit have a very vanilla, not white, very vanilla envelope, a garden green card base, a piece of very vanilla, it's actually to go inside your card. Then you have 3 pieces of the paper. So you have a square piece. I'm planning on using that side, but if you want to use the poinsettias, I don't know how to pronounce the thing, then that's up to you. Rectangle as well. So all the measurements will go up on the Facebook page later today. And then the third piece is another, just a thin piece, which is the piece to go inside your card. You've also got a gold label that has been cut using the Celebration label dies. You have another piece of very vanilla that was punched out, and I can never remember the name of the punch. I'll show you in a minute. And then you should also have a piece of garden green and another a piece of real red. So those are the, morning Alison, the things that you should have had in your kit. So I'm going to put those to one side at the moment. So this is the paper that we're using. So this is the Poinsettia Place paper. So the ones that we're using is actually, you've got a small piece of that and you've got a piece of that. So as I said, it's up to you. So this is garden green, that's the real red, and then these are those that it coordinates. So we've got bumblebee, garden green, old olive, real red, soft suede and whisper white. So we're just using those 2 pieces, and this is one of the, fairly certain it's one of the DSPs that's on sale this month, so there's 15% off this, so let me know if you're interested. So that's the kit and the paper. And I'm guessing you'd like to see what I've made. So with the kit, I have made so far these 2 cards. So I started off, and I guess this is the obvious. So I glued the garden green piece of DSP on first, and then I glued the, I don't know, to me they're rose hips, but obviously it's the wrong time of year for rose hips, so I'm not quite sure what these berries are supposed to be. If anyone knows, please let me know, because I haven't got a clue. And then to hide the join, I glued on the piece of real red. And then the piece of garden green, I just bannered both ends and sort of using a bone folder or your fingers, I just bent the edges up. And then glued on the gold Celebration label die, and then I stamped my sentiment and put that on with dimensionals. I have to admit I'm guilty because I haven't finished off the card inside, but the intention is to put the strip of DSP down there or along there, it's entirely up to you. Or if you have a stamp set that you want to stamp another sentiment or something, then that's obviously, feel free to do that. So that's the first card. The second card, I turned it on its side and did a similar thing, but sort of did the reverse. So we have the piece of garden green, the other piece with the berries, and then glued the piece of strip of garden green on, bannered the real red, and then instead of doing a real red sentiment, so instead of the real red sentiment, I actually used garden green instead. So, oh, hi Rebecca, how are you doing? So that's another quick and simple way. And obviously you can embellish this if you've got some rhinestones, you can colour them to match the paper and stuff like that, or just use them plain. It's really up to you. Or you could use the, and I don't have many of these left, the holiday rhinestones. They're not the exact same colours, but you know what? They are close enough that, because they're only small and shiny, and people like small shiny things. Morning, Sally. You could use those instead. As I said, or just plain rhinestones. You've got some stamping blends, then you, which are the alcohol markers, then obviously you can colour them too. Morning, Debbie. My goodness. So those are the two that I have made. And again, I know this is a tent fold, so that the actual fold in the card stock is at the top. Some of you may prefer to do portrait rather than landscape, but it's up to you. You could do this using those colours. These things are so flexible that you can do really what you would like to do. So without further ado, I guess, oops, excuse me, all you can see is my arm probably. I'll get my kit back. And then the 34 million or 64 or 94, whatever it is, $1 million question is, what should we do? So we've got a square. So it kind of makes sense to maybe use a square, which means that you would have to cut this piece down as a square as well, which is not hard. So you would just need to measure across the width and then cut it the same going down. So, and then I think that's too big to go that way. So, yep, so I'm going to cut that. So, and some of you may have slightly different widths, because I was running out of the DSP, but the pieces that you have are certainly big enough to do this. So this is 6.5 centimeters wide. So I want to cut this piece at 6.5 centimeters. And I think that's all the cutting that I really want to do today with this. So now obviously you can put it this way, or you can make it into a sort of a diamond shape. The other thing that I think I might do is I might fold in, let's see, I might fold in the corners. Could be tempting fate here. Let's go to 2 centimeters. No idea if that's straight. Let's see how that looks. Not quite. Maybe I'll just do it by eye. So I'm going to just fold in the corners like so. I don't want them to meet in the middle, simply because we're going to be putting the piece of red. Let's see, now if I put that on there like that, yeah, that will work. And then fold in this one too. She says this has to work, because actually this is the only paper I've got left of this design, this piece. So it's going to be a bit of a disaster if it doesn't work. And then we can either put it that way or that way. The idea is to get it equal, but obviously I have not done that. So I'm going to use some glue dots to hold those, because I don't really want them quite flat. So I'm just going to use a glue dot and sort of fold it slightly. Use that fold that I've put on there. So that it's kind of raised up and more rounded on that edge. So it's slightly softer rather than it being deadpan flat. And you can tell I'm winging it because I thought something else, and then I actually just came up with this just this instant. So this could be interesting. Right, so that one's gone and got itself a bit flat there. Let's see. I wouldn't normally use paper snips, but okay. And then whoops. I might end up actually putting it, maybe use that side. Well, it seemed like a good idea at the time, haha, she says. So I'm going to put it that way. Oops. Let's try again, that way. It's just going to balance on there. So what that means is I'm going to have to put some dimensionals on there, which are double height so that they don't completely flatten the paper. So we want them kind of in a square, but in the middle. You don't want them on the outer edge, because if you put them on the outer edge you will definitely be flattening things. Let's get rid of these. I came in this morning and found my mum vacuuming. She was trying to get all, I was going to say she was trying to get all the dimensionals up from last time, but that I would be lying because I'd actually picked them all up. I wouldn't leave it for her to actually do it. She's 86, bless her, so. So I'm going to put that on there like that to try and get it vaguely square. So that can go on there, or like that. I don't know. Maybe I'll put it that way. And then we've got sentiments and we've got other bits to do. So we can put that on top. This is going to get end up being quite a thick card, so you need to be careful. We have a garden green base, and let's see now. Let's do some more real red. So I'm going to do a real red sentiment. So I'm using a sentiment from, I'm just using the Merry Christmas. So this is the stamp set, the Celebration Tidings stamp set that goes with the dies. So these are the dies. So that was the one that I used for the gold die cut. So they're all curvy and they're stitched. So I like the detail in these. So that was what I used, and they're designed to coordinate with the sentiments and the designs in this Celebration Tidings. So a photopolymer, so don't be surprised if the red, because it doesn't seem to matter what sort of colour ink you're using. I've gone and buried my blocks. They go red eventually. It does not affect how they stamp. It's just that they just seem to like the red colour and they will just pick it up. There we go. So I've got a block. I've got my piece to stamp. Just lining it up with the grid paper so that you can, maybe put it up a bit higher so you can actually see it. And then I'm just going to stamp down Normally I'd stand for this because I can't quite see. It's not quite in my reach of my eyes. I'm not directly above it. Oh, okay, that worked. So I've stamped my Merry Christmas. And we're going to add that to the piece of gold. Now you could put that on here. It's actually looking quite fussy. I don't know. Maybe, or maybe I will just put it on there. This is why I end up taking everything apart, because I don't quite like it. Maybe I'll put it straight. Yeah, maybe I'll go that way. Now the $64 million question is, how shall I glue this? You need to be careful with the foil paper. If you get glue on it, it's a real horrible thing to try and get off without it looking like you've totally thrown it. Totally tried to get the glue off. It just goes all mushy and horrible and marks it. So actually, this, I just realised this isn't gold. This is one of the brushed metallic foils, but the same thing applies. I don't know if you can see that it has a brushed effect on it. Don't know, there's a lag on this, so I'm not quite sure where I'm at. So hopefully you can see it. I don't know. It's very shiny anyway. So that's that. I'm going to put some more dimensionals on. So Postman's going to love this one, because it's going to end up getting a bit squished, I think. That's that. Try and put it on central, which is precisely what I've not done. There we go. You know what, I am going to kind of just flatten them down a little bit. So I'm sure you could do a much better job of this. Probably measuring would work. And then folding. And I think that's then going to go flat on the card, because quite frankly, if I put any more dimensionals on this, it's not even going to go through a letterbox. Now, do I put it that? I quite like it that way, actually. I think I'm going to go for a landscape card. I think that will look better on it like that. There we go. So that's that. Obviously, if you've got the card stock and the time, you could mat the this piece here with either real red or garden green. It would be up to you, or even a piece of soft suede, that would work too. I've not used these, but I'm sure some of you will do your own thing and you will find a use for them on the card. So I'm going to glue this to along the bottom, like this. I mean, I could put banners on, I could do all sorts of things with that cardstock. I know it's a little bit too long. I deliberately cut it a bit too long for everyone so that it did go the whole length of that piece of very vanilla cardstock. And then you can then trim it off and throw that little bit away. So I'm going to glue this in. If you're like me and have a habit of changing your mind halfway through making a card, but don't want to throw things away, I mean, you could put a banner of this on, maybe the red. And what I would do is I would cut it in half. So to banner an end, you just get the good end, cut up the middle with a sharp pair of scissors, and then go from point to where you've cut up to, and then simulate from the other side. And then in theory you should have a, oh, see, that might work. So up the middle, diagonal from the point, and you should, she says, that one's not a perfect one. I've obviously made a bit of a boo-boo there, not gone the right way. That's it. End up with a perfect, and then you can play around with this. So maybe that's too long, and just lop a piece off. You know, my very technical terms here. There you go. Actually, that adds something to it, so I think I will actually do it that way. And what shall I do? Easiest thing to get this stuck on now is to use some more glue dots rather than trying to use glue and ending up with getting it all over the place. So glue dots is a lot easier if you actually take your card or paper to the glue dot and just push it on from the roll. So that works. And then just push down like that. This is getting fussier and fussier. That one, you want it to go, obviously, so that it's kind of, well, you want it to be level with that one. So I'm going to turn it that way for a moment. So in theory, it looks like it's a complete banner. You know, and I know that it's not. So there we go. And then I think I'm going to add some rhinestones. So I'm going to add some, I was going to say some green ones. I do have some green from here. Use my take your pick tool. So glad this comes with a putty refill, so because I'm just about out of this one. So I'm going to put a rhinestone here and a rhinestone there, and I think I'm done. Yep, that is it. So that's my card from this morning. If I had some more DSP, I would put a piece on the envelope, or depending on what stamp set you've got, there may be something that you could use. So like this one, this stamp set that I'm using, the Celebration Tidings, actually has this piece here. So I'm going to stamp this in, just in some garden green, I think. And that will just finish the envelope off. There we go. And then of course you can stamp it on the front, stamp it on the back, you can stamp inside, you could stamp it in memento and then colour it. If you're doing that on your envelope, I would suggest, so if you're doing this on your envelope and wanting to colour, certainly if you're using your Stampin' blends, I would suggest that you put a piece of cardstock in the middle so that if it bleeds through this, that it won't come through the back, because that will happen. Okay, and that's it. So that's my card and a cuppa, or sometimes I call it 1 kit 3 cards, because they've all been made using exactly the same kit, and believe it or not, they look entirely different. So I hope you've enjoyed that. This will go up on my Facebook page. I've also been posting them to YouTube, so if you like YouTube, then it would be great if you could go on there and subscribe and like oakfieldcrafts. That's what it's known as on YouTube. I've only just started it now, because now that I'm doing this at Mum's, at least the videos are much better for it, and also it doesn't take me 3.5, 4 hours to upload. So anyway, so that's it for now. I will be back next week with another virtual card and a cuppa, and I've just realised that I didn't switch the power on, so I've now got almost a flat battery on my phone, but hey ho, never mind, I've finished. So that is it, and I'll see you next week for another virtual event, and I'll be sharing a technique with you. Okay, take care. Bye.